Welcome back to Moving Cardboard. It's time for another opening in my series of solo progression gameplays and openings. This time around, instead of opening up the next deluxe expansion, I'm going to open up a product that came out right around the same time as Heirs of Numenor, or it might have come out slightly before it, and that is the Hobbit First Saga expansion. Overhill and Underhill, Saga expansion for the Lord of the Rings loading card game. And this is going to be interesting and fun for me because of how apparently it's like got a campaign story element to it. I don't know. So, yeah, it has 3 new scenarios that follow the adventures of the Hobbit. So it models the book setting off from the Shire. Bilbo, Thorin, and the company of dwarves are pitted against trolls, goblins, and the riddling creature known as Gollum. In addition to these immersive scenarios, Cat, there are new heroes, treasures, and a variety of player cards. Okay, so this will be interesting. I'm going to take care of this cat and open the box. Alright, now that I've got the shrink removed, let's open the box. It's got the same nice linen finish of all the other boxes, slightly textured. The boxes are so... I wish they made them flimsier because I don't know what to do with the boxes. But they're nice enough that you almost want to use them. Okay, so here we go. Got the rule book here. Welcome to the Hobbit Overhill and Underhill, the first saga expansion for the Lord of the Rings, the card game. Unlike the other expansions, these give players the opportunity to directly participate or recreate narrative events in the novels. Bilbo has his own Baggins sphere, so that's interesting. And there's something for treasure. It's a new type of player cards, so that's interesting. I guess this is the layout. Oh, Glamdring. Oh, okay, that's cool. So, yep. And it is a treasure, and it can only go to hero or Gandalf. +2. Okay. Game modes. So there are nightmare decks. Okay, so the quests are We Must Away, Airbreak of Day. I'm going to assume this is like the very beginning of the book. Over the Misty Mountains Grim. Active and inactive encounter decks. So this scenario uses 2 encounter decks. Okay, that's going to be fun. I like that. That's interesting. Dungeons Deep and Caverns Dim. Staging area, riddle area. The riddle area, riddles. Okay, so this is going to be riddling with Gollum, and they've got mechanics for how to do a riddle. I'll get into that some other time. A lot of examples, so that's interesting. I thought this had like campaign rules. I guess not. Or maybe they're on the cards. Well, it could be in here, I'm just not seeing it. Hobbit period deck lists. So these are, if you want to stay thematically in the Hobbit, well, just use dwarves basically. And the cards. Looks just like a regular box of cards with this divider in it, with nothing under it. Okay, so let's take a look at these cards. Got the shrink wrap off. These are encounter cards, sacks. Okay, so this is going to be like Conflict at the Carrack. Trolls putting you in sacks. Looks to me like just a brief. I don't need to go through these. So these are all encounter deck cards. Goblin Miners. Interesting. So it's still... Oh! Bilbo's Magic Ring! Okay, that's cool. As an objective. And yeah, so these are all encounter cards. Set those aside for now. And we've got... Trolls. William, Bert, and Tom. Well, you know what that's for. Troll purse, troll key. That's cool. Named trolls. Okay, so let me set those aside. And let's take a look at the player cards. The 45 player cards. Okay, so we've got Bilbo here with 0 threat. The first player gets control of him. He can't gain resources from player card effects. And he has a pipe. If he leaves play, you lose. So the pipe is something. I saw something about Baggins' Sphere. Okay, so the rules say that he collects a resource during the resource phase. This version of Bilbo cannot gain resources through player card effects, so he's just going to get 1 a turn. I can't accelerate. And that resource can be used to pay for pipe cards and neutral cards. Okay. So I have to try to protect them. And if I'm playing multiplayer, then he gets swapped back and forth. Thorin Oakenshield, a leadership hero, 12 threat. 3/3/1. Wow. Thorin with Balin, or Dane, I mean, would be pretty powerful. To control 5 dwarf characters, add an additional resource to his pool when you collect resources during the resource phase. Okay, so I can see some insane resource acceleration. You get 5, he can get 2, and then there's that, there's some attachment or something for dwarves. They get an extra resource. Can't remember the name of it, but okay, that's interesting. But he's leadership. That's the problem. I wouldn't necessarily, as a solo player, wanted to use him and Dane together, but that would be very powerful if I did, because he would have 4 will and 4 attack. Yeah. Nori, okay, cool. After you play a dwarf character from your hand, reduce your threat by 1. Well, if you're playing a go hard dwarf deck, I mean, you're going to have it, but that's not that big of a reduction. I don't know. Gives you, he's a dwarf Dwalin, so comparing him to, say, Dwalin, the other spirit dwarf, he does something similar, because Dwalin, is that his name, Dwalin? He reduces your threat by 2 when you kill an orc. He reduces your threat by 1 whenever you play a dwarf. So the threat reduction of a hero is similar. He's probably better, Nori, in terms of that part of it, because how many, you're not necessarily always going to kill orcs. Ori, Nori, Ori, 8/2/2/1/3. If you control at least 5 dwarf characters, draw an additional card at the beginning of the resource phase. Okay, so you're begging for these to be together almost. Go hard on dwarves, you're getting resource acceleration, throw some songs on him, plus drawing extra cards. Well, that actually, those synergize, and I synergize with that, because as you're playing dwarves, you're reducing your threat, you're getting card draw, you're getting resources. It's good. Beorn, another hero. It's a lot of hit points. He can't have attachments. 5 attack. He doesn't exhaust to defend. But he only has 1 defense, and you can't heal him. So if you can't heal him, then I mean, he can defend like any number of attacks if you're getting swarmed, but well, let's see. So I got like this troll here, it hits for 5. You can't heal him. Unit player, and he can't have attachments. I don't know about that one. 10, 15, 16. I mean, his threat is way cheap based on his stats, but I don't know. I mean, I don't really play. Again, I don't play tactics much, so. Feely. I have 2 copies. Oh, he's not a hero. Okay, so those were all the heroes. Beorn, Nori, Ori, Thorin, 4, and Bilbo. So, okay, so leadership sphere. I've got Feely. When you play him from your hand during the planning phase, search your deck for Keely and put him into play. Then shuffle your deck. So he's like 2 for 1. And he's 3, 1, 1, 1, 2. He's just a dwarf. He's basically just a basic dwarf. It brings out another dwarf. Okay. Keely is next. Same thing. So he brings out the other. So they bring each other out. So, okay, that's cool. You can basically, for 3 resources, get 2 dwarves. As long as you put them with in your deck. And why wouldn't you? Because by themselves, they're not really worth it. 1, 2, 3. They're not that great. They're other than being a dwarf. But, okay, we can only get 1 from each sphere or something? Or they're in a weird order. I don't know. Okay, listen, whatever. Bofer from the tactics. Isn't there already there's a spirit Bofer already, right? Exhaust him to search the top 5 cards for a weapon. Add it to your hand, shuffle the other cards. So he's like Master of the Forge, but only for weapons. Specifically just for weapons. But he's beefier too. Master of the Forge, I think, only had 1 hit point. So he's a little bit... Well, he's tactics, so that kind of makes sense that he'd have better attacks. And he's got 2 will, which is good for tactics. Get more characters like this, I might be able to put tactics into my decks. Bofer, Dory. So we got Dory, Ori, Nori, but Dory's not a hero, but he is unique. 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. After a hero is assigned any amount of damage, exhaust Dory to place the damage on Dory instead. Okay. What's the point of that? So he's a body, he's a dwarf, and if you want all these dwarves in the deck, that's good, but what is that going to do for you? It's really situational. Like if the damage would kill the hero, he can take the hit instead, but then... Well, you could take an undefended attack. But then why not just... Well, that doesn't make sense. You could take an undefended attack, but then why... You have to exhaust him. So just defend with Dory instead, if it's going to be a sacrificial scenario. I guess if you had 3 of, then you can basically sacrifice them multiple times instead of a hero. You lose them, they're gone. Gandalf. Another Gandalf. Okay. And Gandalf means me. Same stats. He doesn't exhaust to commit to a quest. At the end of your refresh phase, discard him from play. You may raise your threat by 2 to cancel this effect. So that's... Is that better than the other Gandalf? Over the long haul, yeah, probably. The other Gandalf has an enter the battlefield effect of damaging someone, drawing you cards, or lowering your threat. But here, you can play him. Well, he's just going to raise your threat. You can play him, you can quest, and do something else. I'll definitely put him in the deck to try him out. That seems better. The other Gandalf is a sneak attack combo piece. This one is not as much. No, you wouldn't sneak attack this Gandalf at all. So it's using Gandalf in a different way. It's interesting that they're making different versions of characters. Like, I think, isn't... Bofer is the spirit dwarf that I've played with before, who is good at questing. Okay, anyway. That's cool. Cram, a leadership attachment attached to a hero. Discard it to ready a hero. That's, that's pretty good. I mean, it's a 0 cost. It takes up a space in your deck, but so what? And you can throw it on and then ready the hero. So it's almost like a card that you can, what this really is a card that you can just cycle to ready to a hero. But you have to attach it first. Is that bad? Is that good? I'm not good at evaluating cards. Like when I'm just looking at these cards for the first time. It doesn't seem that bad. I mean, Unexpected Courage obviously has multiple uses, but it costs 2 resources. So if you're resource starved, well, yeah, because if you're playing Thorin, who's a leadership, and have a bunch of dwarves down, you're getting extra resources. I don't think that's a bad card. I'm not sure. I'll definitely play around with it. Spare Hood and Cloak. Another 0 cost attachment. Exhaust the Hood and Cloak and exhaust attached character to ready another character, then attach the spare Hood and Cloak to that character. I don't know about that one. That's kind of weird. You have a guy that you don't do anything with. You have a character. You don't do anything with them except to exhaust them to ready somebody else. And then somebody else has this, and then the next turn you do nothing with that character. I don't know about that. I'd rather just keep like Erebor Record Keeper. I think that card's a trick. Thrower's Map. Attach it to a hero, discard the map to choose a location in the staging area, make that location the active location. If there's another one there, return it to the staging area. There could definitely be uses for that. I wouldn't be surprised if there's quest uses for that, like a location comes up and you need to explore it for something. Also, if there's a lot of locations that do horrible things to you when they're in the staging area, or they buff enemies or something like that, so you can just use this to get rid of it. I think this is one that wouldn't just go in a generalized deck. This is definitely one that you have played the scenario or read all the cards and you have a feel for how it's going to go. You've kind of done your reconnaissance, and then you're going to take this map with you and use it at the right time. That's what this is. And there might be tricky things you can do with it. I don't know. A very good tale. A lot of 0s in here. Exhaust 2 allies you control to shuffle your deck and discard the top 5 cards. Put up to 2 allies discarded by this effect into play under your control. The total cost of allies put into play cannot exceed the total cost of the allies exhausted to pay for this effect. That seems pretty good to me. I mean, so you could have like a 2 guy and a 3 guy, and you could tap them and bring Gandalf into play without spending the resources. But you have to exhaust them. There's a lot of exhaust allies to do such and such. So these cards are really synergizing. And then there's the heroes with at least 5 dwarf kind of thing going on. A lot of these cards seem to support heavy allies, like decks. A lot of decks I'll do like 25 allies, so half the deck is allies. I wouldn't be surprised. These cards are kind of pushing you to, especially this one, put just tons of allies, 30, 40 allies. Because then you're getting value just by having them. But with Thorin and Ori, at least. Okay, yeah, right. Foe Hammer. 0 cost event. After a hero you control attacks and destroys, exhaust a weapon card attached to that hero to draw 3 cards. That's really cool. That's pretty cool. Situational. I think that's the thing with tactics. A lot of the cards are situational. Okay, that's cool. Goblin Cleaver. Combat action. Exhaust a weapon attached to a hero. To choose an enemy, engage with you, deal 2 damage to that enemy, deal 3 damage instead if the enemy's at work. So you don't even have to... Well, it's combat action. It has to be in the combat phase. So you could actually kind of use this. Well, that's interesting because there's like, what is it, Quick Strike from the core set? You play the event and you get to attack first. You get to pick a character and they commit an attack before the enemy attacks, because normally enemy attacks go first. This is similar, but you're only exhausting your weapon, so your character is still ready and they can still make an attack, but you could do this before the enemy attacks and kill one guy. So these are like weapons that are events or something, kind of. Late Adventurer. I'm late. Exhaust a character you control that is not committed to the quest to commit that character to the quest. Well, yeah, I mean, I can totally see that where you have held guys back and then you see something come off the deck, in counter deck, and you're like, oh, I didn't need to hold back for enemies. Let me add somebody. Or like there are like treacheries and stuff out there that do stuff like remove somebody from the quest. Or there was even where... I think in Shadow and Flame, there's a treachery that says this horrible thing happens. Or no, it's Battle of Lake Town. This smog attacks. You may remove somebody from the quest to cancel this card. So you could remove them from the quest and then... Well, no, that's not right. You have to exhaust them to do it. So it has to be people that you held back. But you might have somebody who, like Gandalf, doesn't exhaust. Say he is committed to the quest, he doesn't exhaust to commit to the quest, he gets kicked out by a treachery, and then you play this, and then you just have to tap him, and he can go to the quest, or whatever. I think that has use. I can see situations that this being used. I have no idea if it would be worth it to put on a deck, especially for a solo. Some of these cards would probably be better, like the situational ones. Multiplayer, like, some other person, or you could have them in your deck, just to have more answers to whatever's coming up. But this probably wouldn't be very efficient, a solo deck. Expecting Mischief. Play during the quest phase, before staging. So after you've committed, you can only play it at that time. Deal 2 damage to the first enemy revealed. Okay, so cool. So it's like a little trap you set. And then, well, you definitely would want to scry first, though. Because if you don't, you play it, and what if you just get a location? This is better multiplayer because you're drawing more cards. But for me, I would want to be able to have knowledge of what's coming off the deck and then play this, knowing that there's like a weak enemy. Or play it in conjunction with Thalen. Okay, this is a Baggins card. Burglar Baggins. Bilbo gets +2 until the end of the phase. Bilbo Baggins gets +2 will, +2 attack, +2 defense until the end of the phase. If it was end of the round, this would be better. It would be like Durin's Song just for Bilbo. But how would you take advantage of all of those? Well, it's a buff for Bilbo. This is the only Baggins card. That's it. That's kind of okay. One. That's it. Sting Orcrist and Glamdring. Sting. How do you pay for this card? I have to read the rules. It doesn't have it's 0, but there's no... What's the sphere? It's just a special thing. Attach it to Bilbo only. Bilbo gets +1 to his stats. After he exhausts the defend, discard the top card of the encounter deck, deal damage to the attacking enemy equal to the discarded card's threat. That's cool. It's like a sneak attack. So when he defends, he's like hiding. That's interesting. Again, if you can scry, you can really do some stuff. Combo out. Alright, this goes to a hero, gets +2 attack for Orcrist. After the hero destroys an orc enemy, they get a resource. Glamdring, and that's the one where destroy an orc, you draw a card. Okay, so those are the player cards for this. Kind of a mixed bag. I don't know. I mean, I'll have to see the encounter cards and stuff. I mean, I'm sure some of these would be really good against whatever's being thrown at you in particular. And, well, I'm definitely going to continue with my dwarf theme. I'll put Keely Feely in there. Heroes. Oh, what did I do with them? Oh, I don't think Bjorn. Nah. These three could probably make a deck. Biffer. I really like... Well, no, because I want Dane. Yeah, I don't know. I could get rid of Nori and do these two with Dane, and that would be pretty strong. I'd have to have some songs, though, to make sure I get all the resource matching that I want. Yeah, I think that could be a pretty good deck. But we'll see. Okay, encounter cards. So, how many encounter sets are in here? Oh, passed. This is the one with Bilbo's magic ring. There's got to be, you know, maybe there's just 3. Oh, there's another one. So there are 5. What does Bilbo's magic ring do? Bilbo, when answering a riddle... Okay, this is the riddle encounter. There's Gollum. So, I guess the ring helps you answer riddles. Discarding extra cards is probably a good thing. And you can... Or I can tap this and get +2 threat to get an extra resource. But what am I going to do with the resources? There's only one Baggins card. And then I can spend it for this. So, I don't know. What am I going to do with Baggins resources? A lot of Gollum stuff. Are there any other cool... objectives? I think I saw the troll. Yeah, troll purse, troll key, smelly sack, strong sack, tough sack, large sack, deep sack, foul sack, and a worn sack. So, like the sacked cards from Conflict of Carrot, but they kind of rethought that, I guess. Any more cool objectives? Don't think so. So that's that. Unexpected party. 1A. Yeah, an unexpected party. And the next quest, we have a short rest. And out of the frying pan. That's so cool. Oh man. It really is like the chapters of the book. Out of the frying pan. Riddles in the dark. Into the fire. Yep, so this is when they're under the mountain. Oh man, I can't wait to play this. This one in particular, because I bet you have to go through these riddles and then have this big fight and running away and all this stuff. And Down to Goblin Towers. Okay, so this is going to be the encounter with the trolls. That's basically this one. Unexpected party, roast mutton, dawn, take you all. So I wonder how that's going to play out. Like, survive long enough. If you survive such and such length of time, then they turn to stone. And then this one is probably the second scenario, going down to Goblin Town. Okay, well that's that. You know, I'm excited to play this, and I hope you are excited to play it too, or you have played it and you've already been excited. Anyway, see you later.